Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another Raider Nation Unlimited. I'm your man, Wasted Talent. Salute to everybody that's in the chat. Get wasted with your brother, Wasted. Tell a friend and tell a friend. Um, man, this is a Monday that is very challenging for Raider Nation, right? This is a Monday that is, like a lot of us don't really know how to feel, right? Um, Yesterday's game was a heartbreaking loss, right? But there were a lot of bright spots in yesterday's game that we need to go over, man, because it's not all bad, right? Um, it's not all bad, man. Genty got going yesterday. Maxx Crosby had one of those signature Maxx Crosby games yesterday. The offensive line looked like it kind of came together against a bad Chicago Bear front four, but at least they can put that in the column of a good game. But at the end of the day, the desired result is what's key here, right? And the desired result is wins, and we didn't get that. We did not get that yesterday. We didn't get it. There's a lot of people that have checked out. There are a lot of people that are pissed off. There are a lot of people who, want to play the "I told you so" game, as if the Raiders have not been. The Raiders have not been a successful franchise in a very long time. We know that. But yet still, we are fans of the team. We are Raiders. We want them to do well, right? But if they don't, it's not like anybody is surprised, right? Then you got that part of the peanut gallery, right? Then you have the part of the peanut gallery that wants everybody and their mother fired. There is that part of the peanut gallery. And look, man, when you come over here, right, with me, now I can only speak for me. I can't speak for nobody else. You know what I'm saying? And I can't really speak for, people that are on that kind of time. I can't. I can't do that, right? We can't speak for people that's on that kind of time. We can only speak for people that want to see this get better. We want to speak for people that want to get some some guidance onto what exactly went on. This is what we do on these channels, right? We don't come here to just just to come here and just crap on the team, right? It sucks to lose, but there are positives, and those are the things that we have to break down, right? And then we have to break down the negatives too. That's a piece of this. That's a piece of this too. That is a piece of this, right? Like we understand, we know and we understand that who Geno Smith is, right? We know and we understand who Geno Smith is. We always have, bro. Like when Geno Smith got signed by the Raiders, right? Nobody thought that Geno Smith was going to be Dan Marino, bro. We know who Geno Smith is. We thought Geno Smith was going to play a lot better than he did indoors, right? Because that whole indoor Geno thing, that's a myth. You know what I'm saying? Like from year to year, things change. This year, that's not the case. Geno Smith has thrown 7 interceptions this year. He's thrown 6 of them at Allegiant Stadium. Right? So that's something that they got to figure out. Right? But this is the thing. This is the thing, man. And I laugh. There are a lot of people who, I see people on Twitter, I see people in my inbox because, I was looked at as a guy who couldn't stand Derek Carr, right? And I want to get into the game, right? But I just want to say this, right? when that couldn't be further from the truth. I didn't dislike Derek Carr. I just been watching this game a long time, right? And I knew when it was time to move on. And when it was time to move on, that was around the time when I got into podcasting. And I'm gonna be honest with you, people are like, oh, we had DC here. If we had DC here with a defense and the way he's played over the last few years and the way he was getting hit, we'd be a bad football team. Just like when he went to the Saints. He's going to win a Super Bowl because, look, they got a defense. It's a great organization. He was terrible because he was a middle of the road quarterback, and so is Geno Smith. And when you have a Geno Smith under center, you got to ride the wave, right? Quarterbacks like Geno Smith need to have a lot of talent around them. They also need to be protected. And then you also have to to account for when they have bad games, because he is a guy that is a top 15 guy. But the biggest problem with the Raiders, and I don't know why everybody doesn't just realize this. The biggest problem with the Raiders is that we don't make the proper commitment to trying to locate and find a quarterback. We never have, bro. Even while I was alive. Dude, we have not drafted a quarterback in the first round in 18 years. Like, Jamarcus Russell was the last quarterback we drafted in the first round. And before that, I think it might have been Todd Marinovich. And I gotta remember, it was a long time ago, but we don't draft quarterbacks in the first round, and that's a problem. Because most of these guys that are going to the Super Bowl, most of these guys who are MVPs, these guys are Super Bowl quarterbacks that were drafted in the first round. There are teams that will go to the dance floor and draft quarterbacks in the first round year after year after year till they get it right. Year after year after year. And that whole QB PTSD because of Jamarcus Russell, that is a cop-out. That's bullshit. Because you can look at the Chargers with Ryan Leaf. That didn't procure them from going out there and drafting Drew Brees in the second round, and then drafting Phillip Rivers and drafting Justin Herbert. The Browns, year after year after year, Brandon Whedon, all these dudes, Johnny Manziel, Baker, you have to, Tim Couch, you got to invest. Achilles Smith was with the Bengals, but you got to invest in these guys. Kate, you have to invest in the quarterback position in a real way. And what we've always done is put Band-Aids on a situation. We try to put lipstick on a pig. We try to put perfume on dog crap. This is what we do. And then we wonder why we haven't had any Markham of consistency. We wonder why. Listen to me. When you guys ask me what I thought about this season, marketable improvement. 4 more games. 7 and 10, 8 and 9, 9 and 10, possibly 500 is the ceiling for a team like this with no depth. That's a defensive-led football team with a rookie running back and a first-year head coach here with a new system, and a first-year, offensive coordinator here with this group of guys, right? So you got to expect there to be some growing pains. You got to expect for that. But this is the reason why over the years, when guys like Baker Mayfield are available, I say bring them in. When you're picking high in the draft, and I want us to draft Michael Penix, everybody was laughing at me, right? There were times where, there've been a lot of guys. Hold on real quick. It's my sister. Tracy, what's up? Everything all right? Listen, I'm sorry, y'all. I know that was unprofessional, but listen, when my big sister call, I answer. That's my oldest sister. I got two older sisters. That's my sister that's 9 years older than me. She's like my mom. When she calls me, I answer. That's my older sister. That's the one that used to, you know what I'm saying, used to watch me and stuff like that. But yo, look, man, when you yo, shout out to Raider Nomad. Samson, this Sheila, mama fell. Oh my God, Raider Nomad. Yo, Raider Nomad is the GOAT. Samson, this Sheila, mama fell. Shut up, bitch. Oh man, that's a classic. Salute the Raider Nomad, yo. But let's get back to it, yo. Look, man, we're in a situation where we got a middle of the road journeyman quarterback. Journeyman quarterback, bro. You know, and this is the reason why there were a lot of people that wanted the Raiders to take Shedeur Sanders and sit him on the bench, right? There were a lot of people that wanted that, right? I don't necessarily know if that would have been a cure-all for the Raiders, right? But what I need for the Raider Nation to do, right, is step back. And you guys can feel however you want about what happened, right? We're all pissed. We lost by 1 point to Chicago Bears, a team. We had so many chances to win that game, right? And 1-3 and 2-2 are humongously different things, right? And the Raiders are going into a tough patch. We're going into a patch where next week we are playing the Indianapolis Colts. And the Colts, if nothing else, the Colts are a good defense. Now, the one thing that they don't have is a superior edge, right? Right. They have a young edge that in Latu who's a decent player, but they don't have a Maxx Crosby. So this is the kind of a situation where the Raiders are going to be challenged, right? It's going to be tougher to run the ball. I don't know if the offensive line is going to be able to overcome what the Colts bring to the table. But I think the Raiders figure certain things out, right? But just when we figure things out, Cole Miller goes down, high ankle sprain. Couldn't happen at a worse time. Could not happen at a worse time. We're gonna go over that, guys. But you know, listen, gather around the fire. I'm on my soapbox right now. But what I would tell you is this, guys. When you look at the Geno Smith situation, you look at the Pete Carroll situation, you look at all of these things. You have to look at things in a measured kind of a measured kind of manner, because we all knew that this team was not going to go to the Super Bowl. I mean, we, you know, in the back of our mind, you know, being a crazy fan, you think, man, maybe, just maybe, right? But if you have any football acumen, right, you know that this team was not going to the Super Bowl, bro. You thought at the very minimum, maybe sneak into the playoffs, which we haven't done. But look, when you talk about, you know, doing crazy stuff like firing a coach, firing the owner, firing a position coach, right? When, to be honest with you, you know, when we talk about Brendan Carroll, maybe it could be him, but it could be Chip's, because this is Chip's offense. Brendan Carroll's not the one out there calling these run plays. Brendan Carroll's not the guy that has Geno Smith, you know, in the shotgun 70% of the time. Brendan Carroll's not the one who's making this offense, you know, predictable. This is the offensive coordinator who just came from college. Not like he's never been in the National Football League, but there's an adjustment period. Look, if Pete Carroll is guilty of anything, to me, is he's guilty of being loyal, right? He's guilty of being loyal. And I hope that Pete can kind of walk some of that loyalty back, because there are other people on this team like Maxx Crosby who had a career game yesterday. He had a career game yesterday. Ashton Genty had a breakout game. For all those people out there who were saying that he was a bust and we shouldn't have drafted him, you see what he can do when he's protected. You see what he can do, right? And then you see what he can do at the quarter point of the season when he's getting acclimated to the playbook. He's getting acclimated to the speed of the game. He's getting acclimated to being in the National Football League. Yeah, he's the run coordinator, but he's not calling the plays. He's not calling the plays, bro. Like there, a lot of those run plays just from, you know, and look, I don't sit up here and profess to be some coach, right? I'm not a coach, right? But there's nobody in this ethos, guys that are podcasters, right, that are coaches on the NFL level. There are some of us that are Pop Warner coaches. There's some of us who played the game. We all played the game. Most of us played, right? Some of us played different positions, but we, you know, most of us played high school football. Some of us played college football. You know what I'm saying? Some of us had a cup of coffee playing college ball. Some of us played semi-pro. You know what I'm saying? I know, you know, Big Mike played in college, and Big Mike played semi-pro ball. Hammer played semi-pro. Hammer played in college. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of guys here that have a pretty good idea what's going on, right? But at the end of the day, there's only people who are at a certain level, right? And they're in the building, right? So we don't exactly know everything, right? We know what we're looking at, though, right? And I know that I'm looking at a situation that is in flux. I know that I'm looking at a situation that I'm expecting to see the Raiders get to a certain point this year. If I'm being honest, I'm not looking for the dumpster fire, right? I'm looking for the Raiders to improve from 4-13. This is what I am looking for, right? And I can't speak for anyone else. I cannot speak for anyone else. I'm looking for the Raiders to improve from 4-13. I'm looking for my Raiders to get in a situation where they're, you know, they win 7 games, 8 games, 9 games, right? And then they build off of that. But the one thing that I don't want to see is for them to take a step backwards. Now, when we talk about Geno Smith, right, him throwing the interceptions, we're going to get into the game after, you know, I get done speaking on this, right? There are some of us that I see, like on Twitter and stuff, calling for DC. And this is the thing, bro. When you call for that, right? What you're calling for is you're calling for a quarterback that's not much better than this one, right? There's been times where he has been better. There's been times where he's been worse, right? But you're talking about a guy that was getting paid as if he were one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And that was always the issue with me with Derek Carr. It's not that I hated him, that I wanted him going. I just didn't want him to get paid like that. If Derek Carr would have took a pay cut and they were able to outfit him with talent and stuff like that, cool. But the thing is that, yo, you got a guy that was getting paid like a top 10 guy, top 8 guy, right? And then I had guys arguing with me when I first got into this, telling me that Derek Carr was better than fucking Matthew Stafford, that Derek Carr was better than Lamar Jackson, right? Right before Lamar Jackson won his first MVP. This is the problem with the whole DC argument, and the problem with what's going on with Raider Nation is there's no middle. You got to find that middle ground with all of this. You got to find the middle ground in all of this. People saw Pete Carroll and said, yo, we going. You don't turn it around in 1 year. You don't turn it around in 1 year. You have to build to a certain level and keep going. You know, like you know, you got guys. All right, you got like this guy, Tom Sufficient, right? He goes, DC is better than Stafford. Matthew Stafford has a Super Bowl ring, and you know, several 4,000, 5,000 yard seasons, that begs to differ. That begs to differ, bro. You know, oh, well, if he had Megatron, I don't want to hear that shit, bro. Stop that, bro. Look, Derek Carr is a great Raider. He represented this organization well. He did. But he was mid too. He was mid too. And the difference between Derek and Geno is that Geno will throw that shit up and he'll get it intercepted. Derek will, on fourth down, throw it away so it doesn't get intercepted. What's the difference? We've seen this guy in games throwing the ball out the back of the end zone instead of taking a shot. But the only difference is this. The team is not winning. This team didn't have very many winning seasons with bruh in the center. Right? And I see people in Raider Nation right now trying to tear the fan base apart with this argument again because Geno Smith is a Band-Aid. Just like Gardner Minshew was a Band-Aid, just like Jimmy Garoppolo was a Band-Aid, just like Aiden O'Connell was a Band-Aid, just like Jarrett Stidham for one game was a Band-Aid, just like Brian Hoyer was a Band-Aid, right? But the difference between all of these Band-Aids are they're not getting paid that much. And you get what you pay for, right? And also, the reason why it's good to have these guys here when you haven't located your quarterback is because it's not hard to move on for them guys. It's not hard to move on from Geno Smith. If Geno Smith continues on the trajectory that he's on, there's a few things that need to happen, right? Geno Smith, if he has another 3 interception game or 2 interception game, I think Pete needs to wake him up and sit him down. You know, I think that, you know, Pete Carroll is loyal. And I think one of the reasons why he didn't sit Geno down yesterday is because they had a chance to pull it out. You know, with all of the turnovers, you know, this is a man who threw 3 interceptions, right? We had a fumble. We had a blocked punt. That game was the sum of all fears when you talk about from a football perspective, because you don't want to give the ball away. You can't give the ball away, right? But this is what happened. This is what went on yesterday. And it was a game where we lost it in spite of that by 1 point, right? So the game was not out of hand. The game was not out of hand. Maxx Crosby put up a Herculean effort. Maxx Crosby deserves so much better than that. He really does, man. And it hurts my heart to see this guy, you know, in a situation where if we don't right the ship and start trending towards being 500, start building towards being a program that looks like, hey, you know what? We good. We got JPJ. We got myself, Maxx, if I'm speaking from Maxx's perspective. Hey, Tyree got better, right? Oh, man. Yo, we starting to cook with gas. Genty, Brock Bowers. Oh, man, we cooking with gas here, right? We cooking with gas. All we need to do is start adding a couple of more guys here. Dante Thornton's look like he's getting all right. Right. And even with him, right? He's a kid who a lot has been put on this kid because of his physical attributes, right? But he is no Megatron. He's no Randy Moss. He's not. If he was, he would have shown that when he was in college, right? But he's a good prospect. He's a good young player that has a lot of physical ability that can be developed. And this is what we're looking for here, right? But we need to see an improvement from last year to this year. And then we have a draft and a free agent situation going into this offseason, and then we improve further. And then next year would be the year where you could kind of start expecting a marketable turnaround. I mean, that was how I viewed it from the beginning, right? That was how I viewed it from the beginning. And I will continue to view it that way. But there are some of you guys who are almost happy. They're almost happy that Geno's doing bad. They're almost happy that the Raiders are 1-3 because The only thing that matters to some of these people, because I get people in my inbox and I see people talking and stuff, right, is that they feel like there's some kind of football savant because the Raiders are doing bad for the fucking 25th year in a row. It's hilarious. It is absolutely hilarious, bro. So what I would tell you guys is this: if you enjoy the game of football and you support the Raiders, continue to be objective. Take it on a week-to-week basis, right? Yesterday was a horrendous game from Geno Smith. And yo, listen, some of you guys grew up with Derek Carr. Some of you guys grew up with some of these players, right? And you have that emotional attachment to them. Wasted talent, don't have an emotional attachment to no players. Because I've been a Raider fan before these guys were born. There's a lot of Raiders that have come and gone, been drafted and made the Hall of Fame in my time as a fan. Not made the Hall of Fame, gone on to other teams, whatever, right? Win, lose, or draw, I'm going to be here supporting the silver and black and praying that they do well. And if I see some ways that, you know, it feels like, all right, man, maybe we have something here, I'm going to tell you. And I'm just going to be honest with you. But I will never, ever get on this airway and just shit all on the team. I see people attacking guys that are trying to, you know, guys that work with the organization, you know, they're attacking these guys like they're capping for the organization. And that's not the case, bro. It's like, yo, look, there was a lot of good in what happened yesterday. There was a lot of good that happened yesterday, bro. Right? The bad was Geno, and Geno wore that, and he knows that. And I'm going to be honest with you, Chip Kelly, questionable play calling. So when I talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly, let's start the show. The good, Ashton Jeanty, man. Ashton Jeanty balled out yesterday, man. Ashton Jeanty, man, look, man, for all of those who said that he wasn't special and all this other stuff, and I know it was only one game, what Ashton Jeanty showed you, and what he showed everybody in this league, man, is that, yo, he is most definitely, Ashton Jeanty is most definitely a stud player. You just got to put him in the right situation to be successful. Shout out to Violator and the place to be, man. Shout out to Unc, man. Yo, he is a problem. We got that pick right. We got that pick right. I'm going to say it for a third time. We got Jeanty right. We got that pick right. And all of you are angry about it. Y'all are crazy, man. He made that. Listen, a lot of what's going on with Jeanty, a lot of it has been the offensive line. A lot of it has been the play calling. A lot of it's been that, right? But some of it lays on the shoulders of Ashton. Some of it lays, yo, sometimes there was some plays where he didn't make the right read. He didn't cut the ball. And that's what happens. Sports is not perfection. It is sports. Playing a sport is the pursuit of the closest thing to perfection. But sports is not perfection. He's a young running back. We have to give him grace. And I think that Raider Nation, we have to stop this erratic behavior as a fan base. I know the root word of fan is fanatic, right? And you get fanatical behavior. But we have to stop with this erratic nonsense, bro. You cannot come here and a guy that's three games into his career say that he's a bust. What part of the game is that? You can't come here and ask for a guy who's won a Super Bowl and a national title to be fired 4 games in. And then when people don't get behind you and agree with that nonsensical behavior, then you call them a sellout. And bro, I'm going to be real with you. You can play it how you want to play it. And I know this might sound a little arrogant to y'all. I don't care what you think of me and how I rate it. I don't care. I don't give a shit. Excuse my language. I know this is a family show. I don't care because I have my beliefs and you have yours, and we're going to meet in the middle. We're going to meet in the middle. But this is the thing. I really don't care because you can say what you will, right? You can say what you will, but patience has been the other problem with this fan base. Patience, bruh. We have to allow these people to do their jobs. We can question them. We can take them to task. But at the end of the day, you got to allow you got to give them a chance, bro. You got to give them a chance. You look, man, you got some of these guys, man, calling for people's jobs. And look, there is a there is a percentage of creators, right? That you have some guys who, look, you got a certain niche amount of creators, bro. You have guys that love the team, that are fans of the team, that know the game, right? You have guys that love the team that don't really know the game. They just want to have a podcast, right? You have guys that are not fans of the team that pretend to be fans of the team because it makes them money and they'll ride whatever wave suits them. Then you have the guys that are the film breakdown guys, right? And then they're good at what they do and they're going to just be honest and they're going to give you their assessment of what they see. And that's that, because they're not personalities. They're football nerds. They love the game, and that's cool too. There's a space for everybody, right? Then you got the creators that think they know every goddamn thing. You got the creators that think they know everything, right? Because of whatever, as if they played in the National Football League or as if they've coached in the National Football League. Thank you, Violet. Stay the course. You're on Wasted. Don't sway like blades of grass in the breeze. Now, that's a fact. And what I'll tell you is this. I don't come on my show. I don't do this to make the organization look bad or to dog the organization out. That's not why I do it. If that's what you want, you guys go down the dial and listen to somebody else, bro. That you're not going to get that from me. I'm going to listen, do I hate when they lose? You goddamn right I do. I cannot stand it. It was hard for me to get through the show yesterday. It was very hard for me to get through the show yesterday. I love this team, and when they lose, it makes me sick. But after I come down off of it, I say, hey, listen, it's football. It's a game. I'm a blessed man. My family is great. I have a roof over my head. My bills are paid. Let me calm the hell down. Right? And all of this, I'm not going to watch this team anymore. That's bullshit. I'm always going to watch the team. I'm not going to not watch the team. I'm not going to call for the owner to sell the team, because why the hell would he? And it's not his fault any goddamn way. The guy's trying as hard as he can. He's hiring everybody you want. He's done everything. Like, what else you want him to do besides go out there and suit up and play for the team? He brought in the greatest football player of all time, damn near Tom Brady, to try to help him out. He went out there and hired Super Bowl winning coaches. And what the fuck else you want him to do? He's paid guys. Yo, it's not like he's cheap and he's like, oh, well, I can't pay him. The only time he didn't pay somebody is he paid the wrong Raider. He paid Derek Carr and he didn't play Khalil Mack. And that was the problem, because he was moving the team and he couldn't keep Khalil. He didn't have the liquid cash. And it is what it is. Because right now, look where the team is at this point. They're in a big city and he's making money. And now they're solvent and viable to go out there and make moves. But listen, at the end of the day, if your patience is running out for the Raiders, then it is, man. And I listen, at times my patience is running out. I want to win, bro. I'm getting older. I want to see us, win a Super Bowl again, bro. I want to see that. We all want to see that. You know what I'm saying? But man, you guys have to really, really allow this thing to continue throughout the rest of the season and see where we're at the end of the season. And pray for rain. Pray that they draft well. Pray that they're viable in the free agent market and they address the offensive line. They got the money, right? Let's hope John Spytek's the guy to get it done. But I'm not going to sit up here and say that John Spytek is terrible and Pete's terrible. I'm not going to do that. So if that's what y'all are looking for from me, that ain't going to happen. Now, as far as like people in the chat or people sending me nasty messages and stuff on Instagram, look, or guys that you know make thinly veiled shots, I'm going to be honest with you, man. I'm just going to put it to you just like this.
Man, you a bitch.
Look, man, we worry about right here, Raider Nation Unlimited. I don't worry about nothing else, right? But we can have differing football opinions, and everybody can do what they got to do. Nobody, you know what I'm saying? But it don't have to be disrespect or guys thinking that they know more or they know less or whatever, or you know what I mean? I'm disrespecting another guy. Like, I'm not going to do that, yo, because I don't know none of these cats. And at the end of the day, if I did or whatever, it really don't matter to me, bro. I'm over here doing me. You do what you do. Let's see where we all wind up. You know what I'm saying? My guy, Third Eye. Where them haters at that laugh when I said bench Geno? Bro, I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. I don't know if it's time to bench Geno, but I think sometimes Pete Carroll has to read the room and he has to say, listen, this is careening off the cliff. Let me put Geno on notice and put Kenny Pickett in. Now, Kenny Pickett's not going to save us. He's another stopgap journeyman quarterback, but the Raiders are never going to turn around until they make a real investment into this quarterback situation. They're never going to, it's never going to change, bro. Unless they trade for a guy who is a high-end starter, because that's happened in this league, right? Or they go and draft somebody. But these Band-Aids, it's not going to work, bro. That's part and parcel of the reason why when people were, you know, there were kind of like rumblings about going to try to bring in Aaron Rodgers or bringing in a Baker Mayfield. Or guys, listen, to me, you can sometimes not cheat, but you can Bluetooth your way to getting a starter, right? You bring in a guy like Baker. Baker's a #1 pick. Baker is the #1 pick overall, right? He was he had a terrific college career. He has moxie. He's smart. He has talent. That's the kind of risk you make. Now with Geno Smith, you're getting exactly what Geno Smith is. The ebbs and the flows. First week, everybody was, yeah, Geno, best quarterback we had here since such and such. And then Charger game, right back down to the dumps. Right? Then the Redskin game, well, the Commander game, down in the dumps. And then yesterday, he had the coup de grace, and he's thrown more interceptions than touchdowns this year. So this is the way. Now, this is what we said about Geno when he came here. He threw 15 interceptions last year. And we said that number's got to change. It's got to be more like 10. He's almost to 10 now, right? We said that Geno plays better indoors. That's a myth right now. We found out that that is not the case here with the Raiders. When he put silver and black on, the whole indoor Geno thing went out the window. And a lot of that is because of some of the help he had at receiver, right? He had DK Metcalf. You know what I'm saying? Like, he has some damn good receivers over there in Seattle. So this is what we're dealing with now. We're dealing with a guy who has to right the ship or be sat down. This is what we're dealing with, right? And I'm going to be honest with you. If there's another 3-interception game, then Geno Smith needs to sit. Because if Pete Carroll can talk about competing and all of these different things, look, that's not competition. Now, when people say we should have rocked with Aiden O'Connell is just good enough to get you beat. Geno Smith's best will win you more games than Aiden O'Connell's best. I'm going to be honest with you, bro. But he needs to be on notice. He cannot continue to go out there and turn the football over like that and keep the team and keep, you know, the Raider Nation off his ass. And pause if necessary, yo. Salute, man. Thank you for Third Eye, man, for the $5 slap-a-rooney. Yo, my dog Third Eye with the $5 smack-a-rooney. I'm sorry, Wasted. if you've ever been a Raider fan for over 30 years like myself, patience is our grandchild. Now, that's a fact, bro. Shout out to my dog, Shalib, man. Wasted. I know it ain't mock season yet, LOL. But do you want us to take a QB this year or wait till the 27th season? I'm just trying to think how this all plays out in the future, considering Pete's contract. Look, it all depends on where the Raiders are picking. I want them to take BPA. If the Raiders have a chance to move up and take one of the better quarterbacks in this draft, yeah, I would like to see them sooner than later go out there and go get their quarterback, man. I mean, how much longer are we going to wait? I want to see the Raiders, and you guys know Wasted Talent has been saying this since I started. Draft a quarterback every year, man. My guy, Carlos Reyes, appreciate you for the $5 slapperoonie, bro. Keeping the lights on over here at Raider Nation Unlimited. Thanks for your content, brother. You and Sanjeet are my go-to for everything Raiders, man. I appreciate that, man. Thank you, bro. Appreciate that. My dog, Shalib, gifting 5 Raider Nation Unlimited Wasted Talent memberships to the masses. If you guys got a membership from the great and powerful Shalib, thank you, bro, for always supporting the channel, keeping everything rolling over here. Y'all give Shalib them black flags and say thank you, bro. You know what I'm saying? But listen, when we start talking about what happened yesterday, man, the defense was phenomenal yesterday, even in spite of all of the time that they spent on the field and all of the turnovers, the back-breaking turnovers by Geno Smith. Maxx Crosby had 5 pressures, 3 QB hits, an 18.4% win rate, a forced fumble and interception. Malcolm Koonce had 5 pressures, 26.9% win rate. Tyree Wilson had 3 pressures, a sack, a QB hit, 15% win rate. And T Book, 3 pressures, 15% win rate. JJ Pegues got on the board with a pressure. Devin White with a pressure. Holmes and Lalu, pressures all around the board. So the Raiders defense was very, very, man, active. It was a superior effort by Maxx Crosby. And it really it breaks my heart that they couldn't win that game for these guys. These guys put it all out there, and Geno Smith, Geno Smith understands, man. He in his press conference, he stood up, he took stock of what happened like a man. You got to give Geno Smith that credit. But listen, there's only so many times Geno can go up there and say it's on me. We know it's on you, bro. We saw you throw in 3 interceptions. You got to go out there and fix it, Geno. You got to fix it. That is not it. There's no metric that you should be able to keep your starting job doing shit like that. No matter how talented you are, no matter how much Pete likes you. You cannot throw 6 interceptions in 2 games and throw 7 in the first 4 games. The man has more interceptions. He has 6 touchdowns and he has 7 interceptions. There is no metric to where that can be acceptable. Now, as far as JPJ, man, JPJ and that offensive line stepped up, man, in a real way. They deserve a huge, huge round of applause and praise. You know, JPJ really, really stepped up to show everybody why, you know, the media and the fan base is out there clamoring for him to be playing, man. I mean, listen, this team went from, you know, having 51 pressures in the first 3 weeks to 3 pressures all game yesterday. JPJ was out there, you know, the lead blocker. He made a game-saving tackle, you know, that really could have been 6 after Bayard's interception. JPJ is playing well enough, man, to where that he's competing every week. That should not even be a thing. If Pete Carroll says that he's competing every week, bro, then there's a problem. Because no matter what people think about you, if you play well and you play, you ball out, whether they like you, dislike you, good, bad, or indifferent, they're gonna have to play you. But what Jackson Powers Johnson showed Raider Nation, what he showed Pete Carroll, what he showed the media, is that he is a physical presence that belongs out there, and there's no metric to where he should not. There's no metric to where he should be not be out there. He definitely went out there and really set the tone. He set the tone. And then when you start looking at, you know, Jordan Meredith, there was that play with Jordan Meredith, you know, look, I don't know exactly what his assignment was, right? But there's no metric because I've seen, Jordan Meredith and Dylan Parham, take out Andrew Billings and stuff like that and double team him to push him up the field. But on a 4th and 1 play, there's no possible way that the center snaps the football and allows Andrew Billings through to blow up Ashton Genty. That's why he fumbled. There's no possible way that was the design. It just isn't. You can't tell me that, right? So, look, man, this whole JPJ experiment, leave the kid at guard, let him develop. Just enough of this. Unless somebody goes down and he has to play center, just leave him exactly where he is, man. But he was a beast yesterday, man. Jackson Powers-Johnson played terrific. Now, Bad News Raider, he goes, what JPJ did prove was that Chip Kelly is a liar. There's no way Meredith beat out JPJ in training camp. Bro, the metric is, I don't necessarily feel that way. I don't necessarily feel that way. What I feel is that they have their metric for what they feel is good center play. They have their metric for what is what good looks like to them, right? That might not be what good looks like to us, right? We see the physicality. We see the athlete that he is, right? But then still in all, right, you can look and you can see the fact that, they might say that he doesn't know how to, call it at the line, or there might be something else, right? There are a lot of people who think that Jackson Powers-Johnson is a better guard, right? Joe Philbin was on this staff last year, previous to Pete Carroll, right? And in the beginning of the season, and I don't want to talk about this too much anymore, but Jackson Powers-Johnson was brought in and they put him at guard. I mean, did they not? They put him at guard. They put him at guard, right? And they did it again this year, right? And Meredith, there was a couple of times where he got blown up. There was a couple of times where he missed the block. And that's fair, right? But to sit up here and act like when JPJ was a center, he didn't make any mistakes, that's not fair, right? Let's look at it. Just the way I view it, bro, as long as that kid is on the field, as long as, he's a presence on our offensive line, that's a win for the Raiders, bro. That's a win for the Raiders. But you can't let the zero technique just glance right in, just waltz in and blow your running back up. You can't have that, bro. You can't have that. You cannot have that. But listen, man, see, and this is the thing, a 1 and 3, man. Look, let me tell you something, man. You say Waste has to be a Geno Carasimi part to keep good. No, that's not what people deal with me for. They deal with me because I'm who I am. And I normally don't respond to shit like this, but I've been seeing you saying this. Let me tell you something, man. Let me tell you something about Wasted. Wasted Talent loves doing this, right? But this Raider ethos does not define me, bro. Wasted Talent has a 6-figure job. This Raider shit ain't sending my daughter through college. It ain't paying my mortgage. It ain't paying my car payments. It ain't paying for my investment property. It's not paying for none of that shit, bro. So listen, there's no backtracking. It's me going out there and being measured. And for you to think that I can go over and disrespect JT the Brick and put him in a situation where he has to walk back something that I said on his platform, you're a fucking idiot. I'm not going to go to that man's platform and act the way that I do on mine because this is my fucking channel. I don't do that to anybody, right? And not for nothing, I said the exact same thing I've been saying all week. It's just there's a little bit more curse words over here at Raider Nation Unlimited than when I go on the flagship. So what I need you to do is if you like the show, cool. If you don't, cool. But what I need you to do is stop sitting up here and questioning what I do like you know me or something. You don't fucking know me, bro. Being apologetic is being professional, you fucking douchebag. And this is the thing. See, this is what I try not to do. I try not to respond to stupid people. But I'm in the mood because we lost. I mean, what do you want me to say? You want me to go over there and be like, yeah, well, hey, yeah, we're never gonna win. Like, no, that's not me. I went over there, said the exact same thing I said on this channel. Yo, Pete, we got to be measured. We got to be measured. We ain't gonna quit on the team. I got time today, bro. This is what I say all the time. And I get people that try to attack this platform all the time because I don't shit on the Raiders. That ain't what I do, bro. If that's what you want, there is probably about 4 content creators that anytime the Raiders lose, here they come slithering out from out of the fucking garbage can to talk bad about the team. Go watch those jerk-offs. Go watch them, yo. You're not going to get that from me, bro. You're not going to get that from me, bro. You're not getting that from me and none of the guys I deal with. We are not going to shit on the team, bro. That's not what we're going to do. Now, listen, there are certain players that, yeah, they're going to get shitted on from time to time. Yeah, they are. But, yo, listen, bro, you got jokers, man, in this shit, bro, that, you know what I'm saying? And maybe I'm being too honest. But, yo, they are so focused on, like, glazing. They have certain players' manhood down their throat so far that they can't even be honest. That ain't me, bro. That ain't me, bro. So I can't, let me not talk about nobody, man. Fuck everybody else, man. Let's get back to the game, bro. Nah, ain't no pause, bro. Like, yo, some of these jokers, you be like, bro, like when you get to stop, please stop swinging from guys that don't even play here nuts. Shit crazy, bro. Shieldmore class act when it comes to covering the Raiders. We have a plethora of info. Most of the young pod folk ain't got, bro. And bro, I'm not gonna listen. Don't mention nobody else up in here, bro, because this is the thing with me, bro. If I felt like I wanted to address them, I would. But guess what? I'm not doing that, bro, because for what? We don't know each other. Fuck these guys. They probably feel the same way about me, man. Fuck these guys, bro. Real rap. If you don't see me on the screen with them and I'm not working with them all the time, then, yo, I don't have no opinion about what they do. I don't really care. I can only tell you how I operate, bro. Fucking 50 years old, bro. I'm not gonna be up ahead, you know, getting into all this chatty patty bullshit, bro. Don't bring up none of them other guys, bro. Don't bring up none of them other guys. But yo, like I said, bro, the metric is different, bro. The metric is different. The metric is different, bro. I'm not on the chatty patty shit, bro. But listen, man, let's get back to it. Let's get back to it, man. Now, look. What I will say is this, right? I saw some great football from this team. Now, the Chicago Bears front four is not a front four unit. They have a lot of guys that are hurt. They have some backups. So I am not going to get super excited about this. I want to see what it looks like against the Colts, right? And we'll break the Colts game down in the week. But JPJ played like a man possessed. He played great. This offensive line looked like it's coming together a little bit. I like some of the adjustments that they made. You can clearly see some adjustments. You could clearly see the adjustments. The thing is that Colton Miller went down. Now, Colton Miller went down, bro, with, you know, a high ankle sprain. And for a big man like Colton Miller, that can really be something that lingers throughout the season, man. The Raiders are in a situation, man, where man, I mean, they're batting 1,000 with injuries. All of our most important players are dinged up. And this is a thing that we're gonna have to really look into, man. We heard Pete talking about Stone Forsythe. He's gonna be the guy that is most likely gonna be the replacement for Colton Miller. And Stone Forsythe has been one of the worst. Stone Forsythe has been one of the worst offensive linemen in football. Him and Alex Kappa. And it sucks that both of those guys are here, man. It sucks that both of those guys are here. I think that's kind of a mistake, bro. These two guys are not good. Now, Pete says that, Charles Grant is going to compete, maybe, but knowing how Pete is and him being an old school coach, he's going to go to the dance with the player that he feels got him here, right? Stone is a guy who played for him in Seattle and he drafted and he went out there and pulled off the scrap heap. That's his guy. He hasn't had Charles Grant suit up all season. Charles Grant is probably going to have to suit up because Colton is out, but I don't see Charles Grant playing unless Stone Forsythe is totally horrendous. Now, I don't think we're at the point where we can talk playoffs, right? I think we're at the point, if I'm being honest, it'd be amazing if the Raiders could make the playoffs, but we at a point now where the Raiders are in a situation where it's not about the playoffs. It's more so about making the season look like an improvement from the season before. And I'm talking about to where the Raiders are building towards something, where they're building a foundation of a winning program. Like that's more so what we want to see. Are we developing guys like Genty? Are we developing guys like Isaiah Palmau? Are the young players coming together? Do we have something to work with some of these guys? The whole playoff thing that went away. We would probably have to be, for us to make the playoffs, bro, we'd have to have a historic run. And somebody in the AFC West, more than one team would have to have a historic collapse for us to make it. You know what I mean? Because look, if you don't win a division, for you to try to win the wild card, what does that look like? When you are 1-3, the chances of you winning another 9 games out of 13 games does not really look like it's something that's going to happen. Right. And I'm not going to sit up here and act like we're definitely going to the playoffs. Right. But can we win some meaningful games this year? Yes. Can the Raiders build on what they got going on here? Yes. Yeah, they can. Right. Is this a complete dumpster fire? No, it's not. I really, 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 really feel like it's about not playing mediocre ball. It's about making sure you minimize the mistakes. It is about going out there and making this team be led by the Brock Bowers and the Aston Gentys of the world. That's what this is about. And guess what? If somebody collapses and we make the playoffs, then great. But it's about that. That's what it's about. It's about team development. It's about us being excited going into next year as well, man. That's what it's about. And my guy, Bubba, man, I appreciate you, dog. Some of these people, man, they don't, hey, man, 187 likes, that ain't looking good, man. I mean, listen, I'm glad I got 187 likes, bro. I'm glad I got that many. I mean, goddamn, I see some of these guys, man, some of these guys that I have a live with hundreds of thousands of views with 50 likes. At least I know that it's legit over here, baby. My guy, Bo Rock, wasted. Being a Raider fan ain't for the faint of heart. And only real ones will stay loyal. I'm going on 53. So I'm here to stay. And that's how I'm on it too, bro. That's how I'm on it too, bro. 100%. The only thing to me that's a dumpster fire is Geno playing QB at home. Bro, at the end of the day, what do we expect? I mean, Geno Smith has always, this is what he's been, bro. He's a roller coaster ride, bro. He's a roller coaster ride. Yo, my guy, Mark Lupo, has the offense not caught up to Chip's scheme? Players look out of position and lost in their assignments. Geno threw to the same spot, and nobody was there but the Bear safety. Look, this is the thing, bro. When you start talking about Geno making that mistake, I think Geno, that has nothing to do with Chip Kelly. That was Geno's mistake. That was Geno's mistake. That was Geno thinking that, he saw something, he did it. Geno's eyes fooled him. Pete Carroll spoke about it today in the presser. And listen, at the other part, when you start looking at why we lost this game, there is somebody that there's a lot of people that they never bring up, and it's starting to be an issue with me. I think that this special teams unit has gone down every year since Tom McMahon has been here. And look, when that injury report comes out, there are a lot of people who don't really pay attention to it. They don't really realize and contextualize what happened. The block that Jonah Lualu missed, that's normally not a position that he plays on special teams. That is Michael Mayer's block. And Michael Mayers was not there. Look, they say Jacob Obermeyer has some kind of tell that the Bears figured out. Pete tried to put that to bed, but what do you want Pete to do? It probably is some kind of tell he has, right? You can tell the Chicago Bears did their work. They did their film work. They did their work. They were prepared. They figured that out, right? And they figured Geno out. They did their homework, man. But let me tell you something, man. When you start talking about special teams, that is a unit that normally the Raiders never, ever have an issue with. Ever. Now it's a problem. They need to clean that special teams unit up. Geno also, and this is something I kind of forgot about. Geno underthrowing Dante Thornton. Now, Thornton should have caught that ball, but he's a rookie. It happens. Geno just has not had a good game. And I'm going to be honest with you. I don't expect Chip Kelly. I don't expect for, Pete Carroll to pull a plug on Geno. But I'm not willing to allow the season to go down in flames behind Geno Smith's ineptitude. Geno Smith has to prepare and play better. I don't know if he's putting too much pressure on himself. I don't know if he feels the weight of the whole season on his shoulders. I don't know if he's regressed. I don't know if he's hobbled, because I know when he gets out there and he runs, kind of looks like he pulls up lame a little bit. But Geno, listen, brother, you got to get it together. You got to get it together. We're not asking you to be Patrick Mahomes. We're just asking you to not be the worst quarterback in football. We're asking you to be a guy that you can depend on. We're asking you to be an upgrade from Aiden O'Connell and from Gardner Minshew. This is what we're asking, bro. This is what we're asking. Because if you can't do that, then it's time to move on and bring in Kenny, man. Right? And then it's time, if the Raiders get into a situation where they're drafting in the top 10, then it's time to go out there and start looking at who's in college for you. But it's crazy, bro. It's too early in the season to demand for Geno to sit down and for them to bring Kenny Pickett. That's not what they've worked on in the offseason. It's not realistic. And if we're being honest, Geno Smith gives them, from an athletic standpoint, the best chance to win. But most of what happens with a quarterback happens above the shoulders, right? So I don't know if it's an issue with him processing, right? I don't think that Geno has an issue processing. That's not the problem. From the athletic standpoint, Geno is a good athlete. He has a good arm. He has decent accuracy. I think Geno was having a problem mentally here. He doesn't look like the most confident fellow in the world all the time. He looks like he's in his head a lot. Right. And it looks like there's a lot of that going on around this Raider organization, right? Like Raheem Mostert. Where's that been all season? We died on the younger player hill with Zamir White. That's a hill we should have never died on. This guy, when we start talking about Raheem Mostert, gave exactly what we needed: a change of pace, a running back who can actually pick up a few yards and keep the play action pass alive when Genty's on the sideline. Be a threat out there. Raheem Mostert played excellent, man. He played excellent. And I hope it can continue against a Colts defense who are pretty decent against the run, man. A. Gonzalez, if we're going to be bad, I don't want enough games to make us out of the top 3 pick. This is why we're never in position to draft an elite QB. I don't, bro. I am going to be honest with you, bro. I don't think that you have to be in the top 3 to draft a great quarterback. You don't. You just got to draft the right quarterback, and you have to commit to drafting a quarterback. You got to commit. Now, does it help to have the number 1 pick, right? Does it help? Yeah, it does, right? But the Philadelphia Eagles, they got Jalen Hurts there, 2nd round pick. You know, Josh Allen wasn't the number 1 pick. Jalen Hurts was the 53rd pick that year. He was the 53rd pick, bro. The 53rd pick. You know, like let's talk about like guys like Josh Allen. You know what I'm saying? Like Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, all of these guys. Baker Mayfield was the number 1 pick that draft. Sam Darnold was taken before him. Josh Allen was the 7th pick. He wasn't a top 3 pick. And from my estimation, he's one of the 2 best quarterbacks in his league. Patrick Mahomes wasn't the number 1 pick. You can draft. Does it help to be a top 3 team? Yeah. But you can draft a quarterback that could be successful in this league without having a top 3 pick. You just got to pick the right quarterback. Raider Rash, we got to sack the QB more. Caleb was sacked 1 time, just saying. But, yo, some of that stuff, you know, Maxx should have got a forced fumble. You know what I'm saying? He should have got a sack for that time with Caleb coughed the ball up. A lot of that stuff wasn't accounted for. Maxx harassed the hell out of Caleb Williams. They got the desired result. The Raiders did what they had to do. Maxx got a pick. Maxx was an absolute game wrecker. My guy, Rick Simmons, fam, we spoke last year about this team in this direction. And I said, we're just not good. Yet I said 5 wins, and you and Mike said I was the same. Well, here we are. Have some pieces. Oh, yeah. Go Dodgers. Get F up out of here. Look, it could be 5 wins. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think the Raiders are gonna win more than 5. Maybe I'm stupid. I think that I think what's gonna happen is we're in the first year of a program. We're in the first year of a culture change. And I think the Raiders are going to start picking up some wins in the middle of the season. I do. I just think that the key to drafting a quarterback, right? It's a lot of the times where I think certain teams are not really in the position to outfit said quarterback. Like they don't have enough people in the organization to not like said with the kids, just not like, I'm gonna give you an example, like Tennessee, right? I hope that Cam Ward is able to survive, right? And I hope that they do the right thing around Cam Ward. But Cam Ward is in a situation, bro, that it's very hard to dig out of. Cam Ward is in a bad situation down there, bro. Cam Ward is getting hit. Cam Ward doesn't have a lot of talent around him, bro, right? And you have other situations where certain quarterbacks are drafted, like Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes was drafted in a damn good situation, and they let him sit. He sat for a year. And when it was time for him to hit the ground running, he had everything he needed, and he's been successful. Joe Burrow, drafted number 1, had some talent on the team. They went out there and got him more talent, got him some wide receivers. And look, they didn't really, improve their offensive line, and that was probably a problem. But look, man, when you start looking at this, man, this is a team, bro, that if we really look at it, the Charger game, I feel like the Raiders could have won that football game. Maybe that's the fan in me, right? I feel like they could have won that game. Yesterday, they definitely could have won that game. The Raiders really, if we're being honest, could be freaking 3-1. They really could, but this team is not far off. They got to put all 3 phases of the game together, and they have not done that yet. They have to put all three phases of the game together, man. X7, the Raiders will heat up towards the middle and the end of the season, but we will miss the playoffs because we lost too many games early on, 6-9. And yet the Chargers definitely dominated us at the line of scrimmage. That's clear. But that was a winnable game, bro. That was a winnable game, bro. Geno plays better in that game. We can win that football game. 100%. My guy Capital, the crazy part about these 4 games is that you see improvements all over the field. Even on the O-line with JPJ coming back. But Geno and his bad QB play is hamstringing us. We need stability. Yes, we do, bro. We need it like your life depended on it. Facts wasted. They could be 3-1. I am worried because once again, the QB is the problem. Listen, the thing about that is this, bro. If you don't have a star quarterback, the QB 90% of the time is going to be the problem in some manner. Now, the QB, the problem with the QB might be that they're throwing interceptions. The problem with the QB might be that he can't throw the ball down the field. So it makes us one-dimensional. The problem with the QB could be because, he throws the ball away on 3rd and long. There's always, unless you have a star quarterback, there's always going to be problems with a quarterback, bro, because they're way too important and essential to the game plan for them to be mid. You don't really have a lot of mid quarterbacks in the NFL. You have bad quarterbacks, you got very young ones, and you got really good ones. That middle ground is kind of like missing. You know what I mean? That middle ground is missing. This is professional football. Don't be the worst, and we have a chance. We would have gave 3 wins if Geno wasn't the worst QB in 3 weeks. Fix your shit. Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. Geno has been bad. He has been bad, and I know he's capable of playing better than this. Wasted. What do you think we can do at free safety? Pal Miles playing solid, but he's definitely being isolated in the red zone and being more of a strong safety. Bro, I think that there's a few things the Raiders could do. I think the Raiders need to really mix it up a little bit and who's in that back end, right? I think they should use some of these corners, right? I think that the Raiders can go out there and pull up somebody from the scrap heap, but I think most of the problem is that I think that they got Palmau playing out of position, bro. They got Palmau playing, and I've been saying that ever since, the preseason. I think they need to really reassess who's playing free safety and who's playing strong safety, man. Because Isaiah Palmau is a young player that's developing, but I think that his skill set would be a little bit better playing the other safety position. I really do. And this is the thing, man. Like, and my guy Isaiah brought this up. Lonnie Johnson would have been back there had he not gotten hurt. The Raiders are in a bad way, man, when it comes to injuries this year. We have not, the pendulum of luck has not swung our way this year. It's been pretty brutal. And I saw Maxx Crosby at the end of the game miss a sack, like a closeout sack, and it kind of looks like, Maxx might have tweaked something too. I think Maxx might wind up on the injury report. Well, we're going to have to see. But I noticed Maxx was walking a little gingerly too, My guy, Cole Carby TV. I just think that Geno is a QB that's going to make us miserable. He throws interceptions in crucial moments. But, bro, the funny thing? And I know a lot of y'all might not like me saying this, right? He does it. He pisses me off. But at least we're not paying him like a top 10 quarterback. Because we had a guy here for years that we paid like he was fucking Brett Favre or something like that. Could not build a team around this guy. Couldn't, because he made too much and he wasn't playing well enough to build around him. There's a method to Brady's madness. There was years where Brady didn't take a lot of money, bro, because he wanted to have help around him. And when it comes to Lonnie Johnson, who knows? He's not going to come back way after the bye week, but we got to see how healthy his leg is. I haven't heard much from Lonnie Johnson, man. The original Surfer Bob, aka Brett Michaels is in the place, man. Did anyone think that Geno was any good? Come on. I mean, look, nobody thought that Geno Smith was Joe Montana, bro. Nobody thought that. Nobody thought that, but we didn't think that he was one of the worst quarterbacks in football. You know what I'm saying? And that's what he's playing like right now. We were hoping for serviceable, bro. Serviceable. That's what I was looking for. Serviceable. I'm looking for better than, like, my bar for a bridge quarterback and a band-aid quarterback is not super high, bro. I'm not the guy that's looking for you to come here and resurrect your career and be Rich Gannon. That's not really my metric. That's not my metric. My metric is I want you to have the physical ability to make most of the throws, make 80 to 90% of the throws, and not be the reason we're losing. See, this is the reason why when Daniel Jones was available, I say, yo, bring him in. He's a young, big, strong guy, can throw the ball hard. You protect him, give him a couple weapons, he can get you through. People laughed at me. Now he's lighting it up in the first 4 games, right? When I say, yo, hey, when Sammy and Darnold was available, bring one of these guys in. People laughed at me. Look at what we got. Listen, the delineation between how good a quarterback is and how good the best quarterback is very, very, it's a very, very subjective mixture, right? It's a very, very subjective mixture because there are so many things that you need to be a great quarterback. It's good to have a great, because like, and Sanjeet brought this up, man, and I got to give Sanjeet his props. Who is the play caller? Because if you show me a quarterback that's playing well, most of the time they have a great freaking play caller. Guys like Liam Cohen. Look at the difference between Trevor Lawrence with Liam Cohen and without him. Play callers matter, bro. Coaching matters. Listen, Surfer, did I want the Raiders to take Shador? Yeah, we all did, right? We did. Some of us did, some of us didn't. But there's no telling on how Shador will be playing with the Raiders now, being a rookie. He might not be any good for us, right? And then it'd be like, well, you know, he's a rookie. We're trying to see what we got. Bro, to me, this team is a veteran football team. You got a lot of young people, but this is a team that needs a steady hand. Now, can Geno be that steady hand? Who the hell knows, right? But say, for instance, they didn't. This year's quarterback draft is eons better than the last year's quarterback draft. Now, some people say, should we take a large? Should we take this, that? I don't know. I don't even want to get into that. It's too early in the season for me to get into that. But you know, a lot of what I saw yesterday, and guys, we've been rambling on and on. You know, it's crazy, man. Like, I feel like we've been rambling on and on and on, and we haven't done much football, right? Look, Eric Stokes went down yesterday, right? Pete is saying that he's healthy. They just didn't put him back in. But that's the same thing he said at Brock Bowers, right? And I don't necessarily know how much I believe Pete with that. Because if I'm being honest, I can tell Brock Bowers is still hurt. Brock Bowers is still hurt, man. He's still hurt. You know, and let's hope Eric Stokes, what they're saying about him is correct, that he's going to be ready to roll, because he's been playing very, very good. The secondary is the one thing that most of us thought was going to be a problem, and it really hasn't been. You know? So look, man, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. You know, we got to see how this thing pans out, because listen, Chip Kelly, yo, Cheeks Kelly got to come to the front of the car. Yes, he does, Mr. Akon. Yes, and my guy 1-3. We good. Pretty much time to sit Bowers. Why risk it? Yeah, man, I think so too. And you know what the funny thing, 1-3, I would have been more on board with this had Michael Mayers not gotten a catastrophic freaking concussion. If Mayer was able to really play at his full potential, I would have sat Brock. I would have sat, especially the Bears game. I would have sat Brock in that game. That would have been a game I would have sat him to see if that knee's going to get any better this season. I mean, that MCL strain is going to be something that's going to be an issue for the rest of the season. Yo, Colton Miller, that's going to be a huge issue. And really, to be honest with you, what I want to see is, look, I know what I got in Stone Forsythe, right? I want to see Charles Grant. I think Pete is missing, and it all depends on how well Charles Grant has come along. But I think Pete might be missing the mark a little bit here. This is a prime time to get some of these young boys some snaps. Get them some snaps so you know whether you've addressed that position in a real way in the draft. Get the man some snaps. Let him go out there and play left tackle. Let him go out there and play left tackle, man. But let me tell you something. These high ankle sprains, man, with Colton Miller could be out, man, a very long time, bro. He could, man, because he's a big man with a lower extremity issue. Big men with lower extremity issues, a lot of the times, man, you definitely have to kind of err on the side of caution with that. That's a big man right there, man. That is a big man. My guys, support the homie podcast. Let the young bulls play. Yeah, man. Yeah, bro. Listen, man, that's what you can only do so much coaching and coaching up and practicing, without them seeing live bullets. You got to let them get in there, man. Pete always talks about, I play rookies. I don't know what's going on this year to where he's kind of going away from that, but it's time to play these young kids. You got guys that are drafted in the first 3 rounds that really haven't seen a significant amount of playing time. It's only been by necessity that you got Darian Porter. It's only been by necessity. I want to see the young guys, man. If I know at this point in the season, right, and I don't know, we don't know. The Raiders could win every other game for the rest of the season, and we'd be shocked, right? But if things are looking the way they're looking, if the Raiders are going to be a middle of the road mid football team, I want to see that growth. And that was disgusting work right there. But I want to see growth, man. I want to see if this draft class has any promise in it besides Genty. Like Besh and all these guys. I want to see these guys. He said, hey, yo. y'all wash y'all mouths out with soap, man. Dan Tesser, I don't trust Forsythe at left tackle. Put Glaze there and bring up Wagner and put him at right tackle. Look, bro. Pete told you what he was going to do, and Pete normally says what he's going to do. He doesn't really have a good poker face. He doesn't play the games. He brought Stone Forsythe in for a reason. I don't even know if they're even considering bringing in Dalton Wagner and making him a left tackle. I don't think they are. I don't think they're going to mess with the development of DJ Glaze. I was about to say Denzel Good. Shout out to my guy Denzel Good, man. We got Good about to come on the show too soon, man. Salute to my guy Denzel, man. But I think that we need to leave the line alone, bro. Like, who's ever playing at this spot, I think that's a big part of it. Like, if I have any criticism about Pete and these guys, is that they didn't figure out a lot of this stuff in the offseason. My guy, Big Lil Bosco, salute, Wade said, I know these guys are professionals and the season has started. The fact we are traveling from east to west the first 8 weeks of the season, the NFLPA or competition committee needs to outlaw this. Big Lil Bosco, the thing about it is it's hard enough to craft the schedule, right? Because what the league has done is the league is an amalgamation of billionaires that are trying to make more billions off of a hobby. So they feel like getting the value out of this league is getting more TV money. So how do you get more TV money, right? After the Super Bowl is the biggest event of the year, right? After, you have all of this different content, you have a 24-hour media cycle, you have all these talking heads, to the point where the NFL is such a big business that it has run off into YouTube, and men such as myself have gotten into this ethos, right? There's content everywhere. How do you make more money, right? You have to expand the vestiges of capitalism, right? So What do, right? Another market is the international market because we're getting all this money here in America. What about that money out there in Europe? That money looks great. How about the money in Mexico, right? How about it? So now you have all these international games, and now you're in a situation where it throws off the schedule, and it's very hard for them to fit all those moving parts together. And guess who's going to be the team who kind of gets screwed by? The Raiders. It's always like that, man. Alpha Omega, man. Wasted. What's this news of Geno being investigated by team executives? Hey, Alpha Omega, that's news to me, bro. That is news to me. That's news to me, bro. I don't know if that's even true. I'll look into it and I'll get back to you. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to look into it when I get off the air. I'll make some calls. If that's the case, I'll come back with a short for y'all. Yeah, I hate the international games too. I think it's a detriment to the league, man, and the quality of the league. But look, I'm gonna be real with you. If they're gonna do this international game thing, they have to do it better than this, right? I think the teams that they pick, right? They should put them all in Europe at the same time and kind of lead them there. Yeah, man. But I think they got to do it a little bit better, man. They definitely do. So look, man, I'm just to a point where, like, yo, when you start talking about the Raiders, you start talking about, what we need to do. We went on here, man. We had a situation where, yo, it wasn't a good game. It's a game we should have won. We're all sad about it. But look, going forward, Geno Smith is really most of the Raiders' issues. He really is, man. He's been turning the ball over too much, and it takes the air out of a defense that has been playing a hell of a lot better than we all expected. So look, man, a lot of these things, my guy Just Raiders, baby, he said they should do this before the actual season starts and run the regular schedule. That would be cool. The international games, right? They can do a lot of that stuff in preseason, right? They used to do that stuff in preseason, right? But I think that if they're going to do it, I think that they need to put more time and care into what team is going where. I know the way they pick is based off of record and things like that, but I think they should do it a little differently, right? And I think that if they're going to do it, it should be like, all right, what teams are playing the NFC and AFC East? We're going to play in England, right? It's a closer flight from New York to England than California to England, right? So let's try to make sure that if those teams are playing and they're West Coast teams, that they have a game in the Eastern time zone. They have another game in Europe. They might have possibly a bye week, and then they can get back on track or add another bye. But they got to do something a little better than that. Totally get in now. Explained it like that. It's unfair because more teams on the East Coast than the West, and that's a fact. That's a fact because the league essentially started over here. Yeah, what happened to NFL? I don't know, man. That was a good place for them to go and kind of develop this thing. I think the NFL is definitely trying to get a team out there, though. I think the NFL, I think the next thing you're going to see, if there's any expansion, is that they put a team in Great Britain. I really believe that. But guys, look, man, we're talking about this team. Colton Miller, high ankle sprain. He's having an MRI, but this is a multi-week injury. He's going to be out. I think Eric Stokes is probably going to come back soon, but I think Eric Stokes is in a situation like Brock Bowers where he is definitely going to be hobbled and compromised, right? The Las Vegas defense has been playing phenomenal. They really have, man, and they didn't get the payoff, and I'm so sad for that, man. I mean, they had 8 tackles for losses, 7 pass breakups, an interception, a forced fumble, man, 2.7 yards per carry, man. Or, you know, you're supposed to win games like that, and it sucks that they didn't, man. It sucks that they didn't. Even if they gave up a final TD, you know, Maxx looked like he was a little hobbled. He missed that sack, and it is what it is. But at the end of the day, man, you can't turn the ball over as much as the Raiders didn't expect to win. I'm surprised that the game was a 1-point game, man. And that's a testament to this defense, man. That is a testament to this defense, man. So this defense has been playing well, man. Now the Raiders are going into a rough stretch, man. They're playing Kansas City, they're playing Indianapolis, they're playing the Titans. You know, they're playing, you know, the Titans are a team that, you know, you should probably think that the Raiders should do pretty well against. But the Raiders are going into a rough little stretch, man. They could be 2-6 when they come out of this stretch. The Raiders definitely have to steal a few games that people are not expecting them to, man. Now, Eric Stokes has a sprained knee. We don't know how long that's going to last, right? Because Brock Bowers has a sprained knee. You can't have a cornerback that's hobbled. So I think Eric Stokes, they definitely got to get that together, man. He's been playing super well this year, man. It sucks, man. I hope that, you know, he's healthy and he can get off of that injury report, because Eric Stokes been our best corner this year, man. He really has. The secondary, we were all looking like that was going to be the issue of the team, and really that's really been a strength of this team, man. Now, as far as Geno Smith goes, man, we got to get this Geno Smith thing together, man, for real. Because in 2026, man, you know, the guy has, you know, $26.5 million cap hit, $18.5 million in dead money. Post June 1st, $8 million saved. If he gets cut, you know, 2027, $39.5 million cap hit. You know, I mean, Geno Smith is not, he's not making big quarterback money, but he's not being lowballed either. He's kind of being paid commiserate to how good he is. And they say he's a middle of the road quarterback. He's got to play that. I'm not expecting Geno Smith to play at the top of the league. I'm not, but I can't have him playing at the bottom of the league. Can't have that. Yo, Wasted. You had a Bears new snap tendencies of the long snapper. This man, this experienced staff needs to step their game up. They should be embarrassed. Yeah, I heard about that, bro. I heard that Jacob Obermeyer has a tell. And Pete tried to downplay it, but I'm telling you right now, that tell is most likely legit. They almost blocked the kick 3 times. That didn't just happen because of nobody. What I'll tell you is this. I've been a I've been a guy who's been against the Tom McMahon hire ever since they brought him here. I don't, you know, I look, I'm be honest with you, the Raiders got to clean that up, because special teams has been horrendous this year. That can't be the part of the football that we're struggling with. That cannot be. But listen, guys, it's time to reel the train into the train station, man. It is time to wheel us. Listen, this has been a Raider Nation Unlimited Aftermath special. Listen, man, had to bring it down a little bit. We went crazy yesterday, man. Everybody is down, but yo, there's hope. Guess what? There's another game this Sunday. They got another chance to get back on the winning track, man. Let's hope they can pull a miracle out and get over there to Indianapolis and win that football game, man. Let's hope. But guys, listen, man, we're going to get out of here, man. Y'all have a good night. We're going to be rocking and rolling all week. The energy is going to be through the roof. Raider Nation Unlimited. I'm your man, Wasted Talent, man. Y'all have a terrific night.